The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, welcome to the Mind, Body, Spirit show. You're going to find this fascinating and probably incorporate this into your life. Remember the previous shows, I always tell you, at this tender age of 88 to be 89 in 2 months, I take no pills, I have no illness, but actually, maybe I've been telling the truth, I do take one pill. I take vitamin M. Music every morning. Oh, what a beautiful morning. That's how I start my day. I'm trying to get you to incorporate yourself to bring music into your life and maybe even begin the day with it. And let's get going with the show. A person named Oliver Sacks, who is a very well known, wrote a book years ago, Musicophilia. You can go to the library or maybe get a used copy, but it's a beautiful book and describes his life and how music not only makes you feel well, but it affects the whole body and can improve people's illnesses, anxiety and stress, and even diseases like Parkinson's disease. I'll explain it to you. But I'll just say a few words more about him. Music can move us to the heights and depths of emotion, to become emotional. It can persuade us, if you walk on the store, to buy something because you like the music and you're feeling better. Hey, I'll buy that new dress, a new suit. Or pickleball racket, like I play pickleball. And it can get us to dance to the beat of it. We hear it and we feel like moving and dancing. And the building that I live in, there's a gym there. And I put music on my phone and I play the music and I tap dance and sing to it and lift weights to it. Yes, that's true. And so music, listen to this one. Music occupies more areas of our brain than language. Yes. Music can dominate our neurocells and neurotransmitters more than speaking. And when it goes back in history, humans are a musical species. They're musical species. Oliver Sacks, who I told you about, proved to us that music can affect our nervous system and body. Yeah, when he was working in New York City in the Bronx, he was walking down the aisle in one of the hospitals, and there were a lot of people there that had the flu of early part of the century, 1914, something like that. 40 years before he wrote this, and they destroyed part of their brain, and they were frozen in place. They didn't move. Yes, something in their nervous system had been destroyed. And he was walking past this room, and this patient had another person was in the room, and they both were locked. And Oliver was walking with the nurse. The nurse said, "They're always like this." But then she threw on a switch, and music started. and lo and behold, these two guys became the stiffness in a way to start fighting each other. It's a true story. That happened to Oliver Sacks. So then he started studying the effects of music on the human body. So music informs us of the powers of music and his musical philia book. So I encourage you to read it. He also has out DVDs and things that are good to watch. So let's get on our trip with vitamin M, the only pill I take. I took it this morning. Oh, what a beautiful morning. I play it on my iPod. Yeah, iPod wakes me up at 7 o'clock and starts the morning music. I picked out 5 songs, and they'll save them for you. They play one or the other. I feel so good when I get up, I'm moving. And so start your day with sound. Oh, what a beautiful morning. You pick the song. You may like different music than I do. So music makes us larger than we are. And the world more orderly than it really is. Reality is sort of leaving us. We're feeling better. It's affecting our emotions. Start the day with less stress, increased optimism, and better health. It will affect the children that live in your house. They may start dancing in the morning and singing songs themselves, sort of the Mozart effect. So take advantage. Get an iPod, for example. Alexa, sing a song. Let it be your alarm clock. That could be your alarm clock. You can tell it the night before, play the 5 best songs to make me feel good in the morning. And actually, if you pick a song, we all like different types of music, and make a list, give it to Alexa. Alexa will then have it memorized, and at 7 a.m. it starts singing the 5 songs. It's true because I do it. Yeah, but we all have different types of music we appreciate. You, so you pick the music that you like. So it will organize your brain. Remember, there are more notes and neurotransmitter for music in your brain than anything. Yes. So the right side of your brain receives auditory pitches, okay, your right side of your brain, melodies, harmonies, rhythm. The left side of your brain is adapted more to the frequency and intensity and what type of music that is. So music affects specifically certain areas of the brain, but it uses the whole brain, okay? And also your body, yes. I remember taking tap dance lessons years ago. They wanted me to memorize music and then tap dance to it. And I remember telling the teacher, I feel the music in my body. My body is telling me what type of music it is, and I dance according to what my body feels. Isn't that interesting? I'll explain this to you in more detail. So you don't just perceive, but experience the music. You see, I'm experiencing the music. And the nerves that supply the head, neck, and brain and the body are connected to the brain through the sympathetic nervous system. For example, so it sends the messages out to the rest of your body. So design your own sound breakfast. Whatever works for you is best, what you like, okay? Music makes the body want to move. I already told you about the Parkinson patient. It affects the muscles. Here's a good one. Songbirds, birds, and humans are the only creatures that automatically feel the beat of a song. They feel the beat, yeah. I have bird feeders that I look at in the morning when I'm reading some books, and they feed out of there, and then I would walk around a pond where I lived, and I would sing to the birds, and they'd sing back, so they hear it. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So music entrains our bodies by activating the muscle control centers. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to show you it affects not just the brain, but through the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system, it affects the whole body, including your bowels, your heart, your organs, okay? The music control centers of our brains that gets us moving every day, okay? Music entrains not just your muscles, we talked about that already, but the beat affects the breathing. It lowers the blood pressure. It affects the heart rate. It affects the bowels. It affects how your skin feels. It's better. It makes you feel better than exercise at a gym. Yes, many people work at a gym, and I highly recommend it. But bring music also into your life. Basketball players increase their free throw success rate when listening to lyrics of Monty Python. Always, and the song that they liked is Always Look to the Bright Side of Life. I played it the other day. I liked it too. So you release endorphins. That's your own nervous system that's throughout your body that you totally control. And so upbeat music have better results in aerobic exercise. So faster music that makes you dance and want to sing to it, and movement. And remember, I go to my gym where I live now, and I'm lifting light weights while I'm doing tap dancing to it. I do it 4 times a week. Yeah. So people who ride bicycles, for example, will use music with a brisk tempo, like from Queen and Madonna, to get themselves moving and ride the bicycle faster. A sound profile by Trevor Hoffman. He's a pitcher for the San Diego Padres. He uses it too, different music, different games. So he's psyching himself up, listening to AC/DC's song Hell's Bells, so that he'll be a better pitcher before he plays. I don't think he has those things in his ears while he's pitching. I'm not certain. I doubt that that's allowed. So weightlifters use hard driving music. They're lifting weights, but they're listening to music. I got to lift this heavier weight, and it works. So the beat is more important than the style of music they're listening to. So how quick is the beat? How heavy is the beat? How loud is the beat? So sound mind, sound body, a sound home. So bring music into your home if it's not there already. Awake, fully energized. You begin your day with new energy. Turn on the music. Alexa, sing me a song. And majority of domestic complaints are about bad noise. The majority of domestic complaints bad noise. So bring good music into the home. It will bring joy into your home. There will be less strife, less arguments. Noise levels are measured in decibels. Okay, and laughter, listen to this. This is a good one because I see it at restaurants. Laughter is 10 times decibels, remember how loud it is, and talking. So the other day I was at a restaurant and I could not even hear the person sitting next to me what they were saying to me, because at the next table there were 6 of them sitting there having a nice dinner, and they were laughing out loud, and the laughter was so loud. I asked my wife, we wanted to move to the next room. That happened. I did not know that the decibels of laughter is that much higher than speaking. A week ago, I didn't know that. I read that. Isn't that interesting? So don't stop laughing over that, but also consider who's sitting right there. So, noise, music above 10 decibels for a minute can risk permanent damage to your hearing. It's interesting to know that. So when you're at home, don't play the music too loud. You may damage the hearing of your children or your wife or yourself. Isn't it interesting? Rainfall even has decibels, and that's around 50 or 60. But remember what I told you about laughter. But keep on laughing. Laughing can have similar effects to the brain as music. Yes, singing, the same thing. So you can put the brain in ecstasy, how music captures our imagination, okay? The inner ear, that's the real ear, way inside inner ear. The inner ear, the bones, ossicles, and they convert vibration that's occurring on the outside into information that the brain can use. That's a converter in there, yeah. So to take care of your hearing, and as we get a day older, we lose a little bit of it, and I've lost a little bit of it. But I find that listening to music, it actually is improving. So what's in the inner ear, there's some lumping of molecules together. They take the vibration of the nerve impulse and they concentrate it. So in the cochlea, so that's really a concert hall. That's a concert hall in there. So there's an audience of about thousands of neurons that take the vibration and convert it to that your brain can express it. So the Latin word for snails, and they look like snails, is cochlea. Is cochlea. The Earth's first listener, going back in evolution and history, the Earth's first listener were fish. That's why when you see them, thousands or hundreds of fish together, and they hear a noise like a predator coming, they all move together. That is because they're very good at listening. So fish were the first listeners, isn't it interesting? And the most common reason for hearing loss is exposure to loud sound. That's a primary cause of hearing loss. So when you're in the car, when you drive past other cars, you see the unbelievable amount of sound coming out of there. Well, the people driving those cars are going to have hearing loss over a period of time. They may even become deaf someday. So be careful your decibel level of the sound coming from your radio. Okay, isn't that interesting? So we can compress the sound and make images out of it. So auditory imagery is manipulated by orchestra conductors, for example. So tones are as good as the writers in words to the type of tone. And when you go back hundreds of years, thousands of years, human beings were chanting together, all saying the same thing, and they were dancing to it and made them feel better. The hippocampus part of the brain that's in the temporal lobe converts recent memory to a long-term memory. And there are parts of the brain that are more musically oriented. We talked about that. More in the right side of the organization of music, on the left side, more likely where we store the information as to what's the name of the song, for example. But the whole brain is musical. There are parts of the brain that are quite old, and that's part of genetics that we inherited, because years and years ago, the brain, they did chanting, and that genetically is stored in our brain. So and I already told you about Parkinson's disease, where Oliver Sacks, in 1966, went to the Beth Abraham Hospital in the Bronx, and I told you about the frozen patients, but by turning on music, he was able to activate their musculature. And that's even true today. I know Parkinson's patients, and that there are different types. There's some where it's more memory loss, but the other types, especially the ones that shake a lot, they can improve themselves by listening to music. Yes, and then walk around on however they want to listen to it and make themselves feel better. I remember a few years ago when my mother was still living. She died at age 97. That I would bring music in the room, and she would be a lot better. She had no specific disease, but as you get a day older, you get a little stiffer, and you improve with music. And what one person likes, type of music, may be different than another. So I had to figure out what music that she liked. That helped her so much that when the ladies were sitting there, some in wheelchairs in the nursing home, I would do some musical therapy. I would bring music in, and they would be so happy. And the nurse told me that actually it wasn't like the Parkinson's patient. You turn the music off and the benefit stops. No, the majority of people, they said they would be more happy, more speak better, react better for 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. I learned that. So in 1944, we finally discovered that some musical training, a specific therapist, and then use it on patients, helped them a lot. So, but the first formal music training was 1944. Then a program was developed in 1950, and they formed the National Association for Music Therapy. And it was used for all different types of illnesses. Kathy Stiles was known for it in 1993. Concetta Termino also did it. Then a German romantic writer, Novalis, said, listen to this, every disease is a musical problem. Wow. So people are going to react differently. So if you get a relative or yourself and they have a disease, turn on some music and see how they react. And you may find they're reacting much more. They may even live longer. So you have a relative or yourself, and they have an illness. Just try musical therapy. It has, and see, the improvement may be dramatic. So there is this disease called Williams disease, where about 1 in 10,000 children are born like that, where they're hyper-musical. Everything, music improves them tremendously. And it's about 1 child in 10,000. A cardiologist wrote a scientific paper about it. So music makes good medicine. I think you got that idea by now. Bring music into your life. Alexa, oh, what a beautiful morning. You sing to it too. that puts vibrations into your body. Remember I said laughter, singing can have similar effects. So music speaks what cannot be expressed and soothes the mind. It gives it rest. You can use music to go to sleep. Yes. And maybe get in the habit of singing one song, or tell your Alexa or iPod to sing you a song before you go to bed, your favorite song. So music permeates our environment, affects the heart rate, the blood pressure, the breathing rate. They all fluctuate in response to music. Yes, you play certain music, but you like your heart rate may pick up. You may start dancing, and you may start feeling good. And then the parasympathetic nervous system are connected to the rest of your body. Your skin feels better. You're moving better. You're playing your sport better. So research has shown that music increases the memory. Yes. Decreases anxiety, pain perception if you have a chronic pain problem. And this is a good one. And as we go through life, all of us get some pain here and there, including myself, who's on no pills, no illness, 89 years old, only takes one pill, that's vitamin M. But I have a pain now and then from playing pickleball. When I turn the music on, the pain seems to go away. I stop the music, the pain comes back. And so when Mozart was composing music so great, things were so quiet, the whole city was responding to it. And we all know that because the brain is not fully developed in children, that if we play music for the very young child, or even play music in the room, or the mother sings song when the baby's in the uterus, the baby can hear at about 6 months. The ear develops in the child in the uterus. The child is much more likely to be a musical child. That's a Mozart effect. So for even before pregnancy, yes, the ovary and the sperm, it can affect them. But once the mother has a developing child, if she is singing songs, playing the piano, speaking, the child affects their genetic structure, and they can be born a musical child. Yes, even during the delivery, if the mother can sing a song, she may not need an anesthetic. That's true. I had it experienced to someone who attended my lectures, and I knew her, and she was going to have a baby. And her husband called me up and said, she's in the hospital. I was in there, and she just had the baby. It was laying next to her in a crib. And she said, well, what medicine did you take for the delivery? He said, Dr. Kachmann, I attended your lectures. I just sang a song to myself. I felt no pain. I had no pill. That's a true story. Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting, though? So music therapists use a variety of instruments and types of music. You know, some use the harp, some use the piano, some are singing. So music is like 1,000 different languages rolled into one. Yes. You can play music to people of many different languages. It's just how they respond to it, if they like it. So using the tone and rhythm and the melody and harmony, but it doesn't have to be understandable, that people will feel it in their body, and the ear will bring the vibrations to the brain, and the brain will send it out to the rest of the body. 1926, researchers in Europe and America were in agreement that music releases affects the metabolism, and decided indeed was a healing tool. Yeah, and the sound and the vibration of the music has many physical forms, and just the vibration of nature, feeling the vibration from the music can cause forms to be formed, figures to be formed. So the breath of creation brings music to life. Musical tones, words, and sounds sustain a pitch for a few seconds to begin patterns, and they can create figures you can look at. Even animals respond to music. They have found if they play music when they're herding sheep or the cows, the animals respond to it. They move better. They eat more. Yes, and shepherds have found that if they play music, they can move the herd across the field a lot easier. So sounds not heard in the ear are received in the body. Yeah, if your body can receive it. Remember, I spoke about that myself. I felt music in my body, because as you get it on, like myself, the hearing goes down a little bit. And so wise physicians understand each patient is different, different music. Music is, in the ancient world, arranged around a dozen instruments, only about a dozen instruments and voices. It was different than today, where we have many more instruments, many more different voices. Music in the ancient world was a mysterious, powerful tool for the psyche and the body. And they knew it and took advantage of it, but it was not as complicated. Today, we are bombarded with sounds that alter our minds and bodies so that we really aren't listening anymore. So I think it's important to learn to listen, especially with children in the house. It'll develop their brain better. They have a bigger brain. They'll have a larger brain, yes. And so the ancient doctrine spoke of harmonics, the relationship between tones. Pythagoras considered music contributed to health and used the right way. He called it musical medicine. His followers could chant. Ancient healers used the bridge between the body, soul, and the earth and the sky and the heavens, and religion and beliefs were all interrelated to music, isn't it? Fascinating. And you wonder today, is traveling through the mirrors. The ancient musical scales represented the mathematics and structure of the world and the essence of humanity within the orderly system of creation. Wow. Plato said of this, the influence of vibration on creation was acknowledged through Kepler. We read about Kepler. The modern world is coming to honor these visions. Music of the spheres and gods, and music and nature revealed through numbered patterns and purport. An older fact of the brain is in touch with the universe. And so the tone, the rhythm, the harmony, extremely important. Rhythm gives definition. Rhythm can be patterned or chaotic. It gives poetry, dance. Art is a musical physicist, doctor, are all approaching the paradigm of vibration and essence. The ancient knew it, our bodies knew it, but our doctors today are not recommending it much because they don't know it. It's not taught very much in the medical school. I know, I've been there. So the emergent physician, the new doctor, does consider music affects balance, fullness, resonance, on a new understanding of the powers of physics, the powers of the mind. The overture is sound for the 21st century, our recent century. The ancient healers are calling for us to step up to bat, start using it. It should be part of healing. Having been a physician over 40 years, I notice the majority of things people go see a doctor about is stress. It's stress. I understood that too, and that's the reason I wrote this book that describes in detail our neurotransmitters, how our thought process, music, talking affects our body. If you want to read about the science of it, which you don't need to do, you can just start dancing without reading anything. But if you don't know the science, I wrote a book, Welcome to Your Mind Body. Mind your body, mind your health. It explains the science in simple terms. You can get it on Amazon. I'm not selling books at Amazon. The library, you get it for free. But it's nice to know the science in some detail about it. I was so impressed because 70% of the people go see a doctor, even me as a neurosurgeon, with stress. And I spoke to the patients about that. I understood that. I even donated, you wouldn't believe this, an auditorium to the hospital. I worked in Lutheran Hospital, and it's still there. 253 seats, it is still there because I realized that stress was the most common thing people go see a doctor about. They may say they get neck pain, or they get this pain, or that pain, or low back pain. In reality, stress is the problem. They have an X-ray, and it's 4 pages long, and the doctor they've been going to wants to operate on them. Okay, some need the surgery, but the majority of it was stress. Yes. I even learned, you won't believe this one, how the mind affects the body. I always dressed in fancy clothes. People would come in and talk about my ties, my shirts, my shoes, and yes. And then we'd get done, and then I would say, well, what are you here to see me about? And they would say, I don't know. My symptoms are gone, and they go home. True story. Goes to show you. 70% of the people today go see a doctor, maybe even higher. Stress is the problem. That's why they're eating so much sugar to feel better. Yes, that's the nature. I'm just speaking the science of it. So how soon will we be able to use the beauty of musical sound to compose ourselves into perfect octaves, harmony, in the body, the mind, and the spirit? This is, what I just been talking about. So listening is the art of sound health. Chant, the healing power of voice in the ear. Yeah. And a Dr. Alfred Tomatis, that name may sound something to you, but he's no longer living, but he lived in Paris, yes. And his job was to deal with opera singers. And he came up with that your voice is totally reflected by what you can hear. So you have to protect your hearing to have a good voice. I'm worried about that because I have TV shows, I give a lot of lectures, and I got to be sure that I can hear good so my voice can come out. And they have Tomatis centers now, 10,000 in the world. Google it. Yeah. And so Tomatis worked with opera singers. The voice can only produce what the ear hears. That's the Tomatis effect. Yeah, look it up. It's very interesting. So he was a pioneer also in prenatal psychology, which I told you about a little bit in the mother and the voice. The mother affects the child long before it's born. The ear's developed about 6 months of pregnancy, but that ear that's developed first, okay, can pick up the vibrations of her body, her singing, her movement. So we have really an audition of the fetus. Yes, the ear shapes most intimate associations with the mother. For thousands of years, people have chanted, discovered songs, and would chant them, sacred songs a lot of times. And so our brain, this is interesting too, our brain needs two kinds of sound every day. It needs about 3 billion vibrations and noise for about 4 hours a day for a person to be awake, to make them conscious. Isn't that wonderful? Balance is related to the ear. Yes, your balance. You know, I play pickleball, so balance is important. And so our ear is tied to a balance a great deal. Different instruments have different effects on different children and adults. And on me too. I go to a concert. What affects me can be different than what affects the person sitting next to me. They may prefer a different kind of music. And so different music is like different medicine, okay? With really ear neurology. The ear is the ruler of the body. Isn't that fascinating? Almost all cranial nerves, those are the nerves that the 12 that run the muscles and organs and of your brain and face. Okay, and but they all have connections to the ear. Some more than others. They're called cranial nerves. Okay, cranial nerves 2 through 11 are either directly connected with other nerves, or indirectly linked with them, like connected to the vagus nerve or the sympathetic nerve. So we connect the eye, the head and neck, and then they're connected to the acoustic nerve. So also connected to the vagus nerve, the relaxer. So what you hear, it goes throughout the body. So it's the path for the wandering soul, okay? So it connects the back muscles, the larynx, the tongue, for us to sing or to a scream. Next, the heart and the gut, yes. So when we hear music, laughter, happiness, it affects the whole body, and it's extremely important. So hearing has substantial contact with the rest of the body because of acoustic nerve, the vagus, the relaxing nerve, connects us to the body along with the sympathetic and our endorphin system. Okay, so the work of Alfred Tomatis, you know, I mentioned him before already. There are 4 original centers, but 10,000 in the world, even in our city. It's called a Tomatis Center. But which one has a detail, have the Tomatis machines, that is something to try to find out. I'm working on that. So, but he was born 1920 in Paris. He was ear, nose, and throat specialist. He established audio psychophonology, especially he established. He received many awards. And if you ever, say in Paris or something, go to a Tomatis Center. And the biggest cities probably have some of the original ones. Many awards, I can't even mention them all. He got a gold medal, but he probably got 100 awards and deserved for his detailed study. He formulated the feedback loop between the larynx and the ear. Yes. Only the range, the ear controls the tomatis effect. If you're having hearing trouble, read about that. That's fascinating reading on YouTube and these books. So there's a huge list of illnesses treated by him. Stuttering, ringing the ears, hearing voice loss, spots before the eyes, dyslexia. Many things are treated with hearing things. So, but these are innovative ideas. Bass sounds are heard much easier throughout the whole body. So if the drum really hits, it's most likely to affect the whole body. So he developed an electronic ear, a machine, a microphone, amplifiers, filters, earphones, and so you can evaluate yourself and potentially improve yourself. And listening language, and some people need to change what they hear more from the left to the right ear. Remember, the right ear, though, is generally the ear that hears more. So this electronic ear trains the right ear to be dominant, to really be dominant, especially if you're having hearing loss. At least let's concentrate and try to improve one. So it's the most provocative theory of autism. Mother's voice can penetrate through her bones to the intrauterine world. We spoke about that, a little bit already. So you've heard about Gregorian chants in the past, sacred music. Gregorian chant is a body of chant called from the cultures of St. Gregory. He was a pope around 500, 604. And he was trying to standardize the Mass they were having in the church. So it's different from music, no meters, no rhythm, and it's a chanting, repeating the same word. Very interesting. And then there's a Tibetan chant, which is short. The ear is called the energy from the cosmos. Okay? Who knows? Sounds may be coming in. This energy gives life to mass, the vitality of life, which shines from above. I'm not going to argue about it. Who knows? And it's still used today. And to listen to one, you can probably ask your iPod to give you one. You can listen to it, see what you think. So music is a bridge between medicine and religion. And which you know now, that literacy, reading, takes over our nervous system, but so can hearing. Because mental images is an important one. They can be evoked by memory and sound. So we're listening with our body. Remember, I told you about that. Men see twice as well as women. Women hear twice as good as men, based on science. I read about that. Okay, so music is timeless. To the public, music is pretty unknown. Music is the cause of disease, and healing is an agent. There's music can make you sick. Music can make you well. Music is more likely to make you well, and well known in the past, and they use it considerably. Used among our Indians, used music. They danced to it. they sang to it. They did chants to it. Every culture used it differently. There's a book, I didn't have time to read it, by P.A.U., last name R.A.D.I.N., an essay on music and medicine among primitive peoples. So all these primitive tribes, how they use music is in this book. Boy, that sounds fascinating. Maybe one day I'll do a TV show on that. So practitioners singing near people when people were sick, they found out that was singing a song standing next to them, they can make them better. It was known by ancient peoples music has healing powers. They figured it out. In Finland, they had an epic poem, and so a sage with music hypnotized people to sleep. They slept better. They reduced stress. Isn't that fascinating? In the Bible, the words written about in the Bible, King Saul was tormented by evil spirits, and he called upon David, who skillfully played the harp, and the evil spirit left. Interesting. I totally believe it. It took a harp, and the evil spirit departed from him. According to the Arabs, music has beneficial effects on animals. We spoke about that a little bit earlier. Singing, playing of the shepherds, the flock thrive among the Greeks. Yeah, they used it to make the sheep happy, and they would move on when they wanted them to pay attention and move on. Music has a special place and can be a curative agent. I remember living in New York City and reading about it. There was a lady, she had cancer, and a certain doctor took her to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was 3 blocks in front of my house. I used to walk by it to play tennis, baseball in Central Park, New York, when I was just a kid. He would take this lady there once a month, and he would make her look at her favorite art, okay, her favorite art. Remember, I talked about emotions. And then they would eat lunch together. He asked her to visualize what she wanted to happen in her life, which was getting rid of the cancer. And I realized one case doesn't mean everything, but her cancer went away, yes. So she made the cells, the neurotransmitter, mobilized them through looking at art, singing in front of the art, taking a walk in the park, for example. Homer said the flow of blood from the wound of Ulysses was stopped by the melody song of Autolycus. It's in history. It's in the history book. Isn't that fascinating? And Aristotle mentions it as emotional catharsis. I believe it. It's real. In the 19th century, the military used music more than the medical profession. Yes, because people were not as interested in listening to it or using it therapeutically. And every time they marched down the street, they were singing a song. Some still do. Every regiment had its band. A lot of them still do. The present century, there's a renewed interest in musical therapy, okay, to soothe pain. I already mentioned that to you. If you have a pain somewhere and it can't be, don't just take gotta take a narcotic. Well, then you become addicted. Use music. And you become addicted to that. That's fine, but it'll make it feel better, and it can soothe pain. It can help solve psychiatric problems. Certainly, we know it can affect anxiety, and this book describes the science of it. The rhythm, the tone, the melody, the harmony, the timbre, they all affect how a person feels. So positive effects of music as an agent is very powerful, and it can cause you to feel better. It can pull you out of depression. We can improve our memory, and it has effects different from one person to the next. Like Bach results to some people in religious feelings. Okay, and music is the ultimate. Is the ultimate. A dose of laughter. The human race is, and laughter has also has healing properties because it affects the neurotransmitters, and so it can be used as a weapon. But remember, to me, vitamin M has a bigger effect than laughter, but who knows? It may not be to everybody. So there are beneficial effects from joy, humor, laughter, from vitamin M. In 1790, a German, Immanuel Kant, described physical effects of humor. Look at things from a different perspective. It's a bad event, look at it differently. Your neurotransmitters, and maybe turn on the music, and maybe start dancing. So music is the ultimate physician. Forebears and Turtleby knew of the power of music to heal and used it as such. Remember, I spoke about the Indian people and people across the world, and they were using the medulla and the limbic system in our brain, but this has been lost. We need vitamin M. We need to bring it back in our life, and so music is a mechanic for the body. So, what was I trying to tell you today? Begin the day with music, and an easy way is to use your iPad, Alexa, have it sing a song, make a list of songs. You can send it to them, and they will play your songs. Yeah, because I have a list of songs I sent them, and they play them in the morning, and I do some stretching and exercise with it, and then if I'm walking down the street, I will play some music, and I go to the gym in my building, and I have a list of songs I go down, and I tap dance to them. Doesn't matter. You just move your feet, move your body, and about 5 or 6 songs, and then I have a few songs memorized, and a lot of songs from Frank Sinatra, Barbra Streisand, and I have those memorized, so that's good for the memory. And then I go. Remember, I'm in a room by myself. Occasionally, somebody makes their way in, says, "Can I join you?" And I say yes. And then I use some light weights and dance with them. So I've then exercised my brain. I've exercised my body. It's all interconnected, and I feel pretty darn good. And maybe that's why at age 89, only in one pill, one vitamin I take, vitamin M, no illness. Well, I thought I'd live to be 100, but after thinking about it and reading more about it, maybe 120. You be the judge, see if I'm still here. We thank the library for all the things that we do here. Soon I'll be starting podcasting, and they just put a studio in here, and you can listen to that. Maybe short and long, not all 1 hour like this. this one is. So healthy, happy, Maha, make America healthy again. That would be the name of my podcast. I'm always pushing the envelope, and I hope you travel with me. I hope you play pickleball or dance with me, whatever you choose, and you talk to me in person at the library here. I hope to have a room soon where I take on the main cause of most disease, diabetes, how to prevent it, how to get rid of it. And I'll talk to you personally. If you want to review the books, and remember a lot of books in this library. Why am I doing this? Because I love you, care about you. I am a doctor, you know, namaste. Thanks so much. I love talking to you today, especially about vitamin M, music.